Greenwich Mean Time until 7:30, where we'll be reflecting on the result, whatever that may be. We move on to our guest.
And on the line we should have Lauren Allison. Are you there?
Hi there, how are you?
Hi, yes, I'm good, thank you ever so much for waiting on the line while we went through our news features. So tell us, you're studying at the University of Southern California. Tell us what you're studying out there.
I'm doing a Master's in Public Diplomacy. It's a professional degree to get experience sort of in all the different realms of public diplomacy. So that ranges from developing strategies to deal with various problems in individual countries, to looking at propaganda, looking at how traditional diplomacy works as well. So it's an extremely interesting course.
Okay, and I guess the United States is an ideal place to be doing that.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's one of only 2 courses, I think, in the world at the minute. So
yeah.
The other one's also in the States. So
okay, so tell us, what made you want to apply for a Fulbright scholarship?
I think ever since I was, I'm not even quite sure, probably our first holidays to Florida as a kid, I'd always wanted to study in America. It had always been something I wanted to do, and I didn't think I would ever get to do it. And I saw a poster one day for the Fulbright Commission and went to an information session when I probably should have been writing my dissertation, and went along, and just the resources Fulbright offer, as well as the support, are just fantastic. And I decided it was something I wanted to apply to, and it'd be my sort of my door into the United States to study.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you've previously studied at the University of St Andrews in Scotland, as well as at universities in Paris and Belgrade. Can you tell us, how does studying in America at the University of Southern Florida compare with the other universities you've attended?
Yes, California is the campus, I'd probably say, is the biggest difference, apart from the heat. Yesterday was still 33 degrees in November. Today we're down to, I think, 21, but we're back up in the 30s tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. But the campus at USC is incredible. There are 28 libraries. Coming from my one library in St Andrews with its 3 floors. Paris had a library where you had to order books like at Argos. Which was very interesting. And Belgrade, again, was sort of spread out throughout the city. I think that's one of the biggest differences. Probably as well, the interaction you have with the professors. They talk about the class culture shock that you have when you come to the States. Usually in the UK, we'll sit back, listen to our professors, maybe ask a few questions at the end. Whereas here, it's very much, it's almost like the presidential debates you've been talking about.
Yeah.
People interject, ask questions, debate, and you have a very close relationship with the professors as well, which is fantastic if you really want to learn and get deeper into a subject as well.
Yeah, I know that there's certainly a lot more focus on class participation over in the States, which I personally feel is a very good thing, and you do get a lot out of that. So obviously we are on election day now. So tell us what it was like to work with US Congressman Walsh during the last election in 2008.
Yeah, 2008 I was with Congressman Walsh as part of the Washington, Ireland program. It takes between 26 and 30 young people over to the US for a leadership and service course. And interning with Congressman Walsh was a fantastic experience as well. You sort of, the different things from preparing briefings for him to taking people on tours. I have to say that it's a very different experience being in DC during election time and being in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
In election time, when I was in DC, Hillary Clinton had just conceded over the nomination to Barack Obama. Everything was still quite calm because it was the end, I think the start of August when I returned. Whereas here, I mean, it's complete election fever, and I think an awful lot is at stake at this election. So it has become pretty intense. My YouTube, you can't go on without running into 20 different ads for the 2 candidates. Even being on campus, we've been watching the debates live on campus. It's pizza provided by the school. Tonight there's going to be a live screening outside of the results. So it's a very different experience here compared to working in DC, where everything is expected to be political, whereas here you don't really expect to see adverts for Mitt Romney while you're sunbathing on Santa Monica Beach.
And nor do you probably want them either while you're trying to sunbathe on Santa Monica.
Yeah, no, not so much.
That leads us nicely into a couple of questions about the election, your experience of it over there. The news over here in the UK is mentioning the possibility of a tie, even saying that all the polls show Obama and Romney are neck and neck. Is that the sense that you get over there in America, or is there a different idea on the ground over there?
At the minute, it really is too close to call. I do think Obama probably will edge in, but I can definitely see there might be a challenge to whatever result comes out. With Hurricane Sandy last week, I think there might be a challenge over, definitely over votes and people's ability to get to the polls, etc. I think if Virginia goes to either candidate by a large margin, I say that might be an indicator of how the rest of the results will go. But yeah, at the minute it does seem to be quite close, which is really strange because obviously I'm in LA here, which is a big Obama town, and it's not often you see any Mitt Romney posters in the front gardens, but yeah, it does seem to be quite close at the minute.
I think that's the impression. Well, it's definitely the impression we get here, but I think over in the UK we're such Obama fans over here that no one really understands how it's so close. Everyone just thinks, well, how does Obama not win comfortably? But that's obviously not the case in the US. Another question I wanted to ask, being in California, California is voting today on whether to abolish the death penalty. And I just wondered if you'd had any interaction with that issue in terms of your university studies or just generally in terms of what you've been doing over there.
Not so much as I've been over here. One of the things California has at the minute is a couple of propositions they're voting on. There's death penalty. There's one on sex trafficking. There's one on the labelling of food as well. Once again, there were the things that come up on the radio, on your YouTube channel, so it's really hard to ignore them. The death penalty hasn't been debated as much here. There have been a few links to it, and the pro-life campaigners. Anytime there's any pro-life ads, there's usually some comments that come out about whether or not pro-life traditionally tend to be pro-death penalty as well, and the contradiction there. But there hasn't been that much talk about it, as I think the election is really dominating over here.
Now, I just wanted to ask you, obviously you're studying in Los Angeles. I mean, what's it like to be able to, be in such a big city, and to study, alongside your studies? What else do you get up to in LA?
Well, next Monday I'm going for lunch with the Moroccan ambassador, and then I'm going for dinner with Ben Affleck. And I'm actually being dead serious.
Well, back a minute. Well,
hang on. You're going to dinner with Ben Affleck?
Yes, it's part of Human Rights Watch. Annual dinner is next Monday. We have a link to them through the Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism, which is where my course is based at USC. So I got my invite for dinner with Ben Affleck last night. So I'm desperately trying to work out what to wear.
So it's not just the two of you and candles and stuff.
No, I don't think Jennifer would approve. But that's the plan so far. Los Angeles is a really strange place. It's massive. It has completely different sections to it. You wouldn't really know you're in LA sometimes, and then other times you'd be somewhere and you'd be standing in a restaurant and there'd be celebrities about the place, which is really a really different experience. I've never lived in London, so I presume sometimes that's what it's like when you're on nights out in the posh places. But yeah, I mean, just the things you can do here. There was one week I think I went to Florence and the Machine concert. I went to another 2 concerts that week. There's always something you can be doing. You can never say you're bored in LA. You definitely could never say that.
Definitely not. I have to say LA is one of my favourite places, so I'm very, very jealous to hear that you're out there studying. I've been over a couple of times. We'll be over again. I will be over again. So can you tell us what do you hope to do after your scholarship finishes?
Before I started my scholarship, I was actually working for NLO with the Alliance Party in the Northern Ireland Assembly. So it was a fantastic experience doing things like research, speech writing, briefings, attending meetings, that sort of thing. And it's something I'd really like to get back into, local politics back in Northern Ireland. So I definitely see myself heading back there. In what capacity, I'm not quite sure just yet, but it's something that this course is really fantastic for, because you can develop different skills that you'll need for future work. So one of my courses next semester is writing for strategic communications. So I'll be able to prepare briefs, do a bit of speech writing, press releases, things like that. So that's what the plan is at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Ben Affleck takes me up on a proposal offer.
Well, if you happen to corner him, then you should tell him that there's a UK show that would really like to speak to him and/or his lovely wife Jennifer Garner.
Sounds good.
Just give them my number. So, I completely lost my train of thought.
Well, that probably brings us to a point where we're going to have to move on anyway. So it's been fantastic talking to you, Lauren. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, no problem.
And we shall finish by, if you don't mind, asking us, if you were, obviously you can't vote in the American election, but if you were, would you be voting Obama or Romney?
Obama!
Good way to finish.
We'll
Lauren
get you
Allison.
back now.
Yeah, you're definitely allowed back on now. Yeah.
Thank you.
Lauren Allison, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye now.